What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pittsburgh Pirates franchise. I am your host, Taco Josh, and we are back from our hiatus because in real life, I went to the Speedway Classic last week, so that knocked out a couple of weeks of recording, prepping for that in my real life, but we're now back. We should be back to a normal schedule on this, so like and subscribe if you guys are enjoying it. The objective for this episode is just get to the end of the season, because my God, it's been bad. We are at September 1st. We're about to play the Dodgers, which probably won't go well. I'm not going to. We're about to sim. We'll play one more game through this, but I want to show you all the roster and where we're at. But we are at September 1st, which means September call-ups. Now, here's the complicated thing about that for us, and then I'm going to show you guys the rosters, just as like a roster check-in, and then we'll get into a game. But here's the deal. We are 52-86, which is bad. We are 20 and a half out of the division. We've been out of the division race basically for the last 2 or 3 episodes. But we are 2 September call-ups, which means we get to call up some of our younger players to the Major League team to get them experience in the big leagues. Here's why that's complicated right now. Because in AAA, the Indians are doing really well. They're 74-56. Our AAA team is kind of bopping along. They have a real shot at the playoffs and being good in the playoffs and extending a run. So I want to make sure that that happens in AAA. So then you're like, well, you should call up a few AA guys. The AA team is in the same spot. The Altoona curve, they're 71-55, is good news for us in the long term because all those guys will come up eventually and hopefully make a good Pittsburgh Pirates roster. But we're not there yet. So let's jump into rosters so that you guys can see what I'm looking at here currently. The lineup most nights goes as follows. O'Neal Cruz is our best hitter. He's also our leadoff hitter. He's developing fairly nicely. He's had a pretty good year. He's at 259. He's at 17 home runs. He should get to 20, 23-ish by the end of the season. He's been solid. Nick Gonzalez, by Nick Gonzalez standards, has also been pretty solid. He's played a lot of short for us this year, but also he is a primary second baseman, so that's where he's sticking at right now. Brian Reynolds, by our standards and by Brian Reynolds' standards, has been pretty bad. He's developing nicely, but only hitting 233 is not great, and he only has a 692 OPS, which is not awesome, but he is our DH. Mitch Garver, we got in a trade a couple of episodes ago from Seattle, and he has been everything we could have hoped for. We've plugged him into the middle lineup. He's been good. Andy Rodriguez is back from injury. He figures to be a catcher long term, but he's playing first base right now. You can see he's developing really nicely, except for speed, but also he's been really bad. So this is the time to give him some run, I think, just to let him have some playing time and develop, hopefully. Ke'Bryan Hayes has had a really good season, and he's developing pretty nicely with the bat, which if you remember back to some of the first episodes, that was a big question we had. I'm still seeing what we have in Jack Brannigan, and then Jack Sawinski has been Jack Sawinski-esque, and Josh Palacios is new, of course, to the lineup, 72 at-bats in. Still early to make a call on him. The other guys, Spencer Horwitz has been bad. Joey Bart has been not great. And then McCutchen is here as well. And McCutchen has regressed to the point that I don't even really want to play him at this moment in time. We'll play him in the last game that we use, but I mean, he just is bad now. He got injured at some point. He just can't really play. So we'll see. That probably means retirement for him in the offseason. Jared Triolo has been pretty good for the most part. But first base, definitely something we need to look at addressing in the offseason because, my God, between Andy Rodriguez, Spencer Horwitz, and all the other people we've tried running over there, it's just not worked. It hasn't worked at this point. Our rotation is also a mixed bag. Paul Skeens has not had a very good year. He's down to a 97, but he still looks pretty good, obviously. He looks pretty dominant. It just hasn't fully been there this year as much as it has in real life, obviously. He's got a 4.26 ERA, a 5-12 win-loss record. It hasn't been great. Jared Jones, we've called up. He's been really good. He's got a 1.13 ERA, over 40 innings pitched in the big leagues this year, and that is solid. So he is developing pretty nicely. Thomas Harrington, we called him up just to see what he's got. He's developing. He's okay for what he is. Johan Oviedo has been objectively bad since getting called up. And Mitch Keller has not had a great year either. So the pitching should have been this team's strong suit. It hasn't been great, at least for the most part, with Skeens and Mitch Keller and all that. We have traded some guys, obviously, in the last episode. You guys can go watch all of those moves. The bullpen also hasn't been great, except for Chase Sugart, who we'll take all day. Tim Maiza has been solid. And then Alec Jacob, we just got from the Padres, actually. And we have some years of control on him. And he has been electric since showing up. And then we just called up Dari Moreta because Joey Wentz, who was having a pretty dynamite year for us out of the pen, got injured. So that's the big leagues. We're going to go through the minor leagues here quickly, just the highlights of that. Some of the highlights of our minor league pitching. The AAA is Carson Reed. He is a 22 overall C potential guy, and he's had a really good year in AAA. We called him up from AA at some point along the way, and he has a 2.62 ERA. Bubba Chandler, people will be interested in. Hasn't been great, but he's been okay-ish. He's still an A potential. He's still really young. I don't know that he cracks the big league roster next year, but he's getting closer. He might just be the ace of AAA, and we'll see how we go from there. And then Braxton Ashcraft, we called up at some point to AAA, and he has been really good. In AA, it's also been really good. We have Justin Mize, I'm going to go with, is how you pronounce that. I don't know that he's going to be great ever, but maybe as a spot starter from time to time, we can call him up. We have 31-year-old Carson Fulmer, again, another candidate just for random spot starts next year if we retain him. He's been good in AA, 1.91 ERA. A lot of good stuff happening in the minor leagues as far as pitching is concerned. And boy, isn't Phineas Del Bonta Smith a mouthful. Tamar Johnson is our big prospect that we're trying to make work, and he's developing-ish, except for versus lefties. He's getting worse, so we're going to have to figure that out. And also, he hasn't been that good in AAA to this point. He's only hitting 207, which isn't great. Henry Davis has been up and down this year. Currently, he's down in AAA, but he's been okay. And then Braden Montgomery, who we just got from the White Sox in trade, is here, and he has been solid in AAA. Nothing crazy, but he's developing. He's only 22. Long term, that's a good thing for us. And then down here in AA, we have some great news. Nick York, who is the second base, I guess, competition with Tamar Johnson, has been pretty good. He's developing. He's hitting 264. He's got 8 home runs this year. Jack Caglione, we got in the last episode, has been scorching hot since we called him up. And then Travis Bazzana, the other big guy we got, has been good as well. So the future is looking bright for Pittsburgh. We're going to call up Tanner Rainey just to have the extra guy. So now we need 2 more. We'll call up Emmanuel Valdez because he seems to have found it at least slightly. Yeah, and then we'll call up Chang because why not? That gets us to 28. That Super Straps AAA. So we're going to have to adjust that probably. All right, we are going to go into Paul Skeens' final home start of the year. And it just happens to be against the Athletics. Don't worry about it. We are 54-101 at this point, which it's safe to say is bad. Breaking news, believe it or not. It is objectively horrible. And here we are at a mostly half-empty PNC ballpark for our last home game of the year. But Paul Skeens is starting. We're apparently about to get swept. But our starting pitching has been really good lately. So we're going to try to continue that with Paul Skeens, which should be doable. But also, based on Paul Skeens' season this year in Sim, may not be as doable as you would imagine. But here is our man, Paul Skeens. You can see, not incredible. He's got a 4.48 ERA. We're going to hope to lower that, but he does have 200 strikeouts, so we'll take that all day, I guess. The whip is a little higher than we'd want. Obviously, the win-loss record is not as good as we would hope. But he's got a shot to make it better here against the Athletics, and it starts against Estuary Ruiz. We are only 30 games out, so you never know. Things could be turning around. And we get Ruiz looking on a fastball up and in. A great start to our start, which brings up Max Schwaneman. Is how I'm going to go, how we say that name. And we get another one looking, and Skeens is rolling early. And brings up Jacob Wilson, who's not having an incredible season as he is in real life. But I guess you can't complain too much, as he's hitting .247 as a rookie, which most of the time would be great. He's channeling his Black Chris Davis, really. That's a joke for like 5 of you. Go bread and butter, fastball up and in for the boys. And we get him. Strikes out the side in the first. Paul Skeens is rolling. We get the pleasure of facing something called an Osvaldo Bido, who has actually somehow very comparable numbers to Paul Skeens. So do with that what you will. I guess we're saying the sophomore slump is very real for Paul Skeens, as Cruz rips one directly at the first baseman at like 100 miles an hour. That's okay, because it lets us talk about the lineup. It's Nick Gonzalez, Brian Reynolds, Mitch Garver, Emmanuel Valdez, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Jack Brannigan, Andrew McCutchen in his last home game ever, probably, and then Josh Palacios. Sending off a legend, I guess. Might be the title of the video, as Nick Gonzalez will pop up. I'd just like it known that I'm taking a pitch. This could be anywhere. And it was right there. But I was not swinging. We were not going to have a 3-pitch inning. 4 pitches, sure. But certainly not 3. Maybe even 5 pitches. You never know. It's a ground ball. It hits Bido. And Brian Reynolds has a very ugly single to get us on the board here early. Or not on the board, but I guess on the board. This Bido is injured by that vicious 64-mile-an-hour nubber, which is also the title of my sex tape. But he seems like he's going to stay in the game, so we take that. Garver this year has been really good, and definitely worth the trade, I think, as that gets away somehow, and will advance the runner. Mitch Garver, I hardly know her, hits a tank, and we're up 2-0. What a way to start the last home game of the season. It's his 12th on the year. And he just got it out. I don't really know how that happened. The fireworks are blasting. That is so many fireworks for a regular season home run in the first inning, but I guess you never know how many we're going to get today. But Garver kind of cranked it in multiple ways, enough to get it out, and it brings up Emmanuel Valdez, who himself laces one into the gap, and maybe we're cracked, as that's a ground rule double. Ke'Bryan Hayes has had a tough last month, evidently, if his average is down to a 238. So we'll look to help that at least a little bit. 3-1, Jack Brannigan is on deck. And that's a ground ball through the right side. We are going to hold Emmanuel Valdez, because we would have been out by 30 feet, probably. But Ke'Bryan Hayes gets a single, and we are kind of cooking here in the first inning. I'm sorry, does that say Jock Peterson has 6 WAR on the Rangers? Jesus. If only that had played out for the Rangers in real life. We ground out, and that ends the inning, but Mitch Garver puts us up 2-0. I think the only thing that we are looking to do with Paul Skeens today is a perfect game. And I know you're like, wow, Josh, that's asking for a lot. And it is, but I expect greatness out of my players. I say, as the guy CPU simming a 55-win Pittsburgh Pirates team. The other thing that I would be more than cool with is like, oh lord. The other thing that I would be more than cool with is like a 20 strikeout game could be sick, and we are just living on the fastball up and in. That's 4 strikeouts and 4 hitters for Paul Skeens. The only trouble is going to be the pitch count, because it's already a little bit elevated if we want to go deep into a game. So we're going to have to really stick in the zone, which worries me slightly. But we'll take a fly out here to Brian Reynolds. There goes the 27 strikeout perfect game that I was hoping for. And here's Nick, Kurtz, having a monster season, obviously, in real life. Try to front hip a sinker here. And it's ripped, but at Nick Gonzalez. So we're through 2. And it's going well so far for Skeens. Here's Andrew McCutchen. We're going to try to do some damage here against Beto with my man Kutch. Obviously, Kutch is a Pittsburgh legend. So he hits one into right. Kind of grooved it. And it's caught. Unfortunate. The way that the season has gone for Andrew McCutchen. O'Neal Cruz hits one up the middle, and he's got a base knock. Gonzalez signed my jersey, says the guy that's not even wearing a jersey. Is a real interesting sign to have. That one's perfected into left field. And we're in business again. All right, on to the 3rd inning with Paul Skeens, as nothing really came of the 2-2 out hits last time. Or last inning, excuse me, and there goes the no-hitter. As Kyle McCann is seeing it well, I guess. So he went 2 for 4 last game and has their first hit of the game this game. And we're going to allow a weak base hit here. Cruz coming up firing, only 19 speed, and we get him at the plate. What a throw. O'Neal Cruz showing off the hose. A man that I'm sure has no issues getting any hose. 100 miles an hour throwing, by the way. Get him off a mound, maybe. Maybe that's how we cure the starting pitching, is O'Neal Cruz off the mound. Shohei Ohtani who? We have O'Neal Cruz. He hits 500-foot home runs and home run derbies. Is that a Ramon? There's a grounder. Skeens makes the play. So we're now back to the top of the order. And we get a nice quick 3rd inning. Aided by the O'Neal Cruz throw to the plate. We're still up 2-0.
Ball 1, no strikes.
I really needed Valdez there to pelvic thrust into the ball for content. I think that would have been very beneficial for us to be able to have that happen. I'm sure he's wearing a cup, so nothing would have been hurt. Maybe, long term. Would he have felt it? Yeah. But is he virtual? Also, yeah. So lighten up, comment section. We have been objectively terrible the last 10 games. This is your check-in on the Pirates season. All right, back to baseball. Here in the 4th. Let's try to get the ERA to a respectable place with Paul Skeens. Even just a low 4 would be a lot better than where he's at right now. Fastball up and in. It's the bread and butter for Paul Skeens as he gets strikeout number 5. We're just going to keep trying to get that strikeout number up. That one's laced into right center. O'Neal Cruz makes the play. Can throw it 100 miles an hour. Covers a lot of ground. Is a pretty good hitter. Feeling pretty good about the future of O'Neal Cruz on this roster as Skeens is dotting people up. We're going to try a curve here, mostly for vibes, but also kind of for memes. As Cabrian Hayes knocks it down and makes the play. Brannigan kind of gets into that one. Into left center field. It is back. And it is gone. Jack Brannigan puts it into the bullpen. The fireworks are shooting off at an unbelievable rate. And it's 3-0 us to lead off the bottom of the fourth. He got just enough of it, I guess. He hit it less hard than O'Neal Cruz threw it. But it was good enough, and that brings up Andrew McCutchen, who strikes out. Palacios into right, and a diving play. But I believe that's Ruiz out there. That was impressive. And Cruz absolutely rips one into center field. He's really doing it all today. He threw a ball 100 miles an hour to gun a guy at the plate. He's now hit a ball 111 directly back up the middle. O'Neal Cruz, truly one of the most exciting players to watch in real life, just because of the tools he has, obviously, between the speed, the power, the throwing. And that's being displayed in the video game today. Oh, as he almost beats that out to second base. Up and in sinker, because why not? We have room for memes. And we get the strikeout. We're dealing right now, as is expected, because it is Paul Skeens. And we get through the fifth, not allowing a run, as Paul Skeens, pretty effortless through this far at least. We get a new pitcher. It's Noah Murdock, who has been truly electric, it looks like. There's no stat on there that would indicate otherwise. Like I said, Murdock truly electric. Get through that inning 1, 2, 3, no problem. Fastball up and in just continues to be the bread and butter. It's our 7th strikeout of the game. Hoping to make it to double digits before Skeens super tires out. I feel like we'll be able to, but you just never know, obviously. We're in a good spot to get another one here. We're going to try curveball. Just see how we go. And he doesn't really bite, which is okay. Try another fastball up and in. Just been the strikeout pitch of the day. Doesn't quite get him there. Maybe we'll try a sweeper. Oh, and we get bailed. It was definitely touching, but that's not generally an MLB The Show strike. So we get ump cam. And I got to control ump cam, which was very trippy. But kind of sick, I guess. And he strikes out the side in the 6th. Just like, because it would probably be good for the team, I would love to get a few more runs on offense before the game ends. I think that would be pretty epic, because that's a ground ball that's not going to accomplish that goal. All right, Kutch, give us a memory here, dude. To end the season in Pittsburgh. That's on me. That's my bad. 4-time Silver Slugger winner. If I'm not mistaken, won an MVP. And hits one into right center that will be caught to end the 6th inning. Skeens only had 66 pitches, so we're feeling good on that front, I think. No real sense in taking him out early for pitch count reasons. We won't go overboard, obviously, but if he's not really getting hit around, then why take him out? That's a ground ball, and it's through, and suddenly I would like to take back what I was just saying, and we're going to warm up the bullpen. They haven't hit Skeens extremely hard at this point, as that's a pop-up that Palacios will handle. Looking for a double play would also take like a pop-out or a strikeout, of course. So we're ahead here 0-2 to JJ Bleday. Try to get him on a fastball in here, and we strike him out with 99 on the inside corner. And that gets Skeens to double-digit strikeouts. He's absolutely dealing on the hill, but we still have to get through the rookie Nick Kurtz. And we're 0-2 on him.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Trying to make it 0-3. Didn't quite happen there. We'll challenge him. If he hits it, he hits it. And it's a pop-up. Palacios, not a great read. And it's going to be a ground rule double. So it's now 3-1. Palacios just didn't get a great read and just didn't quite get over there. And that's tough. I think that means we're going to mound visit, is what that actually means, if I can remember how to do that. Maybe? Man, they made it difficult to mound visit. Here we go. We're going to give him one more hitter. We live and die with Paul Skeens. There are worse people in the Pirates organization to live and die by, but if we're getting squeezed, it may be a bad call. So that one's kind of hit well into center, but O'Neal Cruz is going to make the play a step in front of the track, and that will probably end Paul Skeens' day. Here's Cruz. He's 2 for 3 today. Can we make it 3 for 4? A homer here would be electric. That's on me because I was trying to make the clip. Gonzalez rips one into left field, and that's going to be extra base hits. Or an extra base hit. Extra bases. And we're cooking with 2 outs in the 7th. We have a little bit of life, and it brings up Brian Reynolds. Unfortunately, not able to do anything with it because I take a pretty bad swing, but we go to the 8th, still up 3-1. And we're going to let Justin Lawrence come into the game here to get a hold. Paul Skeens did about as good as you can possibly expect, honestly. As Lawrence strikes out Urshela, pitched 7 innings pitched, stayed out of trouble for the most part until the very end. So Lawrence is just kind of cruising through so far. Total attendance is 16,661. As that ball's ripped into right for a base hit from Denzel Clark. A good jump there by the base runner on the wild pitch, I guess. Advances, so that takes away the opportunity for a double play, which is tough. And that would have been the double play right there. Able to do that with 58 speed, I guess he was just going, like, not on the pitch, but on the bounce of the pitch. Which is unfortunate, but that is where we're currently at. As we're now 0-2 here, trying to get through the inning. Doesn't quite chase the sweeper. So that's a ground ball up the middle, and it's a base hit. And it makes it a 1-run ball game. And it brings up their 3-hitter, Jacob Wilson. And Lawrence desperately needs to get this inning without allowing another run for team morale purposes. So far, he can't even get through Jacob Wilson. But now he can as he strikes him out. We have a 1-run lead going to the bottom of the 8th. Some more insurance would be sick.
Now pitching for the A's. Number 47.
As here comes surely Michael, but Mitchell Otanez. Michel Otanez, as my people would say. I'm Hispanic. Again, lighten up, comment section. Garver, I hardly know her, puts another one in the seats, and Mitch Garver has a 2-home run day. And Ortañez allowed a home run so hard that he got injured. You do hate to see that, but it brings in a new pitcher. TJ McFarland. I guess if I threw a slider right down the middle, I also would say that I'm injured with an undisclosed injury, but we now have insurance, and it's 4-2. Brian Hayes, a ground ball up the middle, and we're finding some offense again here late. Brannigan loops one into right, and we are in business, but actually, and it brings up what is likely Andrew McCutchen's last home at bat of his career in Pittsburgh. Can we make magic happen? Tough pitch there, and we're down to our last strike with McCutchen. It's 0-2. And he kind of nubs one into the outfield, and it will bring home a run and make it 1st and 3rd. And what a way for that to go. Just stayed on it enough. And good for Andrew McCutchen. Ending his career in positive fashion. And actually, we're going to take him out. We're going to do what would probably happen in real life. He's on base. He's DHing. He's now old and decrepit. Which means we're going to bring in Jack Sawinski to give McCutchen the imaginary standing ovation that he would have received had that happened in real life. That obviously didn't just happen there because the game is stupid. Palacios, a ground ball up the middle. We're going to send Sawinski to 3rd. It is a mistake, but he's safe somehow. Can they challenge? Because I thought he was out. They're not going to, but they are going to bring in a new pitcher. Their 3rd pitcher of the inning, of course, that was aided by the 1-pitch outing that resulted in a home run and an injury, which a 1-pitch outing where you get injured and allow a home run has to be among the worst ways that a pitching outing can go. I don't even necessarily feel like that's that crazy of a take. And that is just not going to do it. Probably. Yeah. That just is not going to do it. We're going to leave Sugar in for a moment to take on Shea Langoliers. And it was a mistake. So now we're going to bring in a lefty to face all the lefties that Oakland has. Palacios can't really field. Was it a deke? It was! We got the out. All of that was calculated. And now we're going to bring in a new pitcher because, oh my God. We're going to take the ball from Justin Lawrence and give the ball to Tim Miza. Have a lot of lefties coming up. So we'll bring in a lefty with a 4-run lead, and immediately it backfires against Blade. But thankfully we do have, I guess, our closer warming up at this point in time. So if it actually spirals, we do have somebody. So that one's hit pretty well as well. So the A's are just out here swinging. And don't fact check me, but I think I've gotten through this entire game without calling them Oakland. So shout out me. Of course. Always shout out me. Like and subscribe if you made it to this part of the video. And if you still think of them as Oakland, I guess let me know. So that's a ground ball up the middle. And we suddenly have a butt clencher here. Which brings up Urshela. We're going to give Miza one more hitter. And that's a ground ball up the middle. And Miza just is not effective at all. Cruz is going to throw it to 3rd. And the tying run is to the plate because nothing can ever be easy in Pittsburgh. And we're just going to bring in Alec Jacob to finish the game. All right, we got Jacob from San Diego. They gave him up for something. I don't even remember what, because in real life, for me, that was like a month ago, and I just don't remember. But he's definitely from San Diego. I believe he was like a deadline acquisition. And he is the guy that we are going to ask to close out the game. He's been good this year. So this isn't even really like a stretch. But I would have loved to have not had to have gone to him in this situation. We do have 2 strikes on Denzel Clark, who we would love to get to not have to face the top of the order. And of course, we get to 3-2, 2 outs. Try a sweeper that maybe stays in the zone, and we strike him out swinging to end the game. And we win our home closer. I believe we won our home opener as well this season. But that is how the Pittsburgh Pirates season is going to end. Gameplay-wise. For us this season and at home this season. The Indians somehow didn't make the postseason after all of that, but our Double-A team did. We're just going to let that ride out. We're going to simulate to the end of the season, and we'll see how our season ends. And they've already been eliminated from the playoffs, so RIP. And we have lost. Our season is over. We end 56-106. That's the playoff bracket. We're going to simulate the playoffs and go to the offseason next episode. Our next episode is our offseason episode, so you won't want to miss that if you made it to this part of the episode. Leave a like. Let me know what I should do in the offseason, because I don't know. We need to address a lot of things, but you guys let me know what you think, and we'll catch y'all in the next one. Take it easy.